Hey everyone, my name is Ryan Lynch, this is TJ Shelters, and you're here for the PowerHIVE Reveal event. We are so grateful you're here. Thank you for giving us some of your precious time today. We're going to try to make this as action-packed as possible so that you can leave with real insight and something new to think about to change how your operations run. You're watching us today on a platform. Our team is ready to interact with you. There's some goodies on there. Have fun playing with that as you interact with us today here on site. So thanks so much for joining. What you're going to learn today is a couple of things. First and foremost, we're going to try to put forklift power into the context of your problems and your operations today, and why we think it's important, why we think it's going to unleash your operation towards solving specific challenges you have. After that, we're going to actually challenge conventional thinking on how things are done today from a forklift and material handling and power standpoint around electrification. From there, TJ is going to walk us through the product in detail, and you're going to get to see all aspects of it and review what you just watched, which was a live performance of PowerHIVE. And then after that, we're going to spend a little bit of time talking about the value customers are gaining out of this for their people, for the planet, and also for their profits and their speed. TJ is going to share a little bit about what customers today are getting from that. And then finally, we're going to spend just a minute talking about what kinds of facilities that you might be running today that this might apply to, and then how you can interact with us to get started planning your future, and potentially that including the PowerHIVE. So that, TJ, I wanted to turn it over to you and just kind of get in. You got almost 100 representatives, leaders out in the field interacting with customers at the executive level and in the facilities every single day. What is it that the customers are challenged by and struggling with today?
That's a great question, Ryan. And as we engage with current customers or potential customers, there's really three main things that we're running into. The first is labor, right? How do you hire, train, and retain employees in today's world? And it's killing the facility. Two is productivity, right? How can we do more? Like we have to produce more and faster. And then the third is safety is a part of it, which is always at the forefront of most every customer decision when power is involved. And then sustainability. It's been a really unique journey over the last 6-8 months that customers are engaging on a sustainability level first, right, versus productivity. So those are the three main things. But at the end of the day, what the resonant theme is, we have to do more with less. Right, that's what we hear.
Yeah. So, how are they? That's what I hear too. But those are some big challenges. What are they doing to solve those today?
A lot, right, and a lot of investigation. So, today, technology is always the first solution people lean to. Right, automation's a big word. As you can see, we've kind of delved into that path with the robot arm behind you. But they're also trying to use technology, advanced chemistries, to solve their problem. The way that we see it, and I think the way a lot of the customers that have joined us here today would see it, is that we don't have that solution yet. But at the end of the day, everybody's trying to do something better and different.
Yeah. And so, can you tie this all in for why we're here today? Like, how does this all play together?
For us at Concentric, it's delivering uninterrupted power to the customer, right? That's our goal and mission. So, in the thought process, which I know you're going to walk through a little bit with Antonio, but our thought process is how do we get out in front of the facility problems so that the customer finds value in what we have to offer.
Yeah. So Concentric's, for the last 2 decades, really more than 2 decades, our mission has been to deliver uninterrupted, on-demand, guaranteed power for customers. And we've been doing that at a national scale for a very long time. And I'd like to bring out our special guest today, Antonio Mendonca, who's really the idea generator behind the PowerHIVE. Antonio, thanks for joining us.
Hi, everybody.
Antonio is our Senior Director of Engineering, Application Engineering, as well as Product Innovation. And Antonio, I started working with you about 8 years ago, right? And when I got here, you guys had already had, over a decade where you were implementing sensors that you'd brought over from Europe into batteries in the early 2000s. You had been one of the first to do high-frequency charging and put fast charging out at scale. You were doing remote charge adjustments in the mid-2000s, right? And when I got here, we were really excited about advanced chemistries because one of the main principles for guaranteed power and helping operations get to uninterrupted power. The idea was get to one battery per truck as fast as you can for every single facility. And one of the things that happened as you started implementing those advanced chemistries is you learned some lessons and you started challenging our thinking as a company. Can you talk a little bit about what we learned?
Absolutely. When we learned a lot about the testing with lead acid, and then we said advanced chemistries. And some of those surprising learnings is, one, when you go from a battery swap to charging the truck, you rely on the driver to have a charging discipline. If they don't charge it, the next shift you're going to suffer the consequences.
Right.
The second aspect is peak power. We're going from a smaller charger in the battery room to a much bigger charger to charge faster. And that you're going to have it now one charger per each truck.
Right.
And you can increase the peak power that in some occasions it may surpass the power installed at the facility, or you're going to increase a lot your electricity bill.
Yeah.
And finally, you have a battery failing, you have a truck down. And sometimes it can be down for a couple of days.
Yeah, even the best products, right, fail sometimes.
Absolutely.
And so how do you have redundancy in that process? So, as you kind of articulated, when we started going to one battery per truck, we had to move to a world of bigger batteries, bigger chargers, more infrastructure. Like that's where we were all racing.
Correct. That was the truth.
So, yeah. So you started saying, I'm not sure that's the way, and you came up with this concept of PowerHIVE. Can you talk about why now was the time that you could pull off putting together something like PowerHIVE?
Absolutely. Over the last few years, several technologies have been evolving, right? We want to put together a system that is safer, is easier on the driver, and is fast.
Yeah.
So we now have available technologies like robotics, artificial intelligence. The lithium chargers are a very good charger, very reliable. And we put together all the system, and we want also to eliminate some challenges for the customer when they have a larger fleet. How we can improve the selection of the batteries. If they have 5 different trucks, they're going to have 5 different batteries there. So we design a system with a battery that fits all.
Yeah.
Right? One battery fits all the trucks. Now you can share a sit down, a reach truck, another pickup, all using the same battery.
Kind of unleashes your equipment.
Unleashes your creativity to manage your fleet. Absolutely.
Your creativity. It's interesting. Well, hey, I really appreciate you coming out. We're going to start walking through the product. Any final thoughts for the group?
This product was designed to focus on the application, on the operations, not to sell a product, but to resolve issues that is common to most of the facilities. So we need to study the application in order to develop the inside the system.
Yeah, and I think one last point. Your team has been building guaranteed power systems for 20 years, right? So you've got hundreds of applications out there that you're managing across the nation. You had data on operations, you had data on power, and you had data on financials, right? Nothing here is new. And so when you started challenging us on getting to one battery per truck and bringing this, you were able to actually build a whole business plan around this and put together a way that we could get this funded, bring a world-class team together to actually think through how we would do this and put that together. And I think that's a very important part of this. Because we've been focused on power for so long, we're able to see the cracks in the armor of what people were doing at the minute.
Absolutely.
Thanks for coming.
Thank you.
Yeah. All right, folks. So now you've thought a little bit with us on how we're changing the paradigm or challenging status quo, which is actually one of our core values. TJ, I'd love to pass it over to you though now, and let's take a walk through the product and really get a sense of how PowerHIVE works for folks.
Absolutely. I do want to say, when Antonio was explaining the system to me, he kind of went down the electric vehicle path. And I've got a lot of friends that have no idea what we do and think it's really cool that we deliver forklift power. And then we get into energy talks, right? And we always want to compare forklifts to cars. And I hate that, but that's what they always do.
Yeah.
So the path I walked them on is, why don't you buy an electric vehicle today? Well, if I'm on a trip with my family, I don't want to stop for an hour and a half. I got kids. I got to get to where I'm going. So I take them through this thought process. What if you loaded your kids up, you went down the road, and when you had to stop, got your soda pop, your hot dog, whatever else it is that you have to do, right? And you walked in to the gas station and walked out. But instead of gas, somebody dropped the battery out of your vehicle, put another one in 2 minutes or less, and you're on your way. Would that change your opinion? And they go, that would definitely change my opinion. So it's a crazy system, and it's a crazy thought process. So
yeah, and it's challenging to do that in a car environment because you don't own the infrastructure or the assets. But all of you own the infrastructure and the assets in your facility today. And so being able to centralize everything and get that efficiency is certainly more available. All right, let's jump into the product.
Absolutely. Let's talk about the product. So what Ryan and I are standing in is what we're calling our operator alley. It's a pretty important piece, obviously, but a couple of things to note. There's only 2 entrances or ways in, and we have an entry and an exit. There's no other way into the system from a safety perspective, right? And what happened is you saw the operator drive in and navigate and park the truck. We have an operator assist parking light, right? And that's going to let the operator know that he's in an ideal position for a reload. The good news is the system's pretty flexible. We have some great tolerances for your operators. As you can see on the floor here, we don't have a lot of guide rollers or anything else to make sure that,
So even I could park this and probably the robot would be able to pull the battery?
I do believe you could do it.
Fantastic.
All right. So then you saw the operator come in. He parked the truck. He came over here this direction. He follows over here. And you saw him stand on this pressure pad. Okay, operator presence. Okay, you can hear it beeping. It's asking me, is the hallway empty? That's our first real big safety feature, right? It's a cue to the operator, please look and make sure the hallway's clear. Once he's looked, he can press this button and the system starts to operate. And in under 2 minutes, he's going to have a reload of power and back out on his way.
Right.
Some other safety redundancies, right? If the operator steps off the pressure pad, he has set amount of time he or she has set amount of time to step back on. If they don't step back on, the system's going to stop. Okay? The good thing about the system stopping is when the operator steps back on, it doesn't have to restart. Okay? The system remembers where it was in that 2-minute window, and it's just going to re-engage in the process. It's the same thing for the light curtain.
Yeah.
On the entry and exit, we have our laser curtain. Sorry, not a light curtain, it's a laser curtain. Nothing can penetrate that area while the robot's moving. If it does, the system's going to stop. Okay? But again, once the obstacle's out of the way, the system will restart and in the same part of the process and deliver power back.
Great. And this is a great time to talk a little bit about, when we had expectations and this system was getting designed, we kind of said 3 minutes was really the threshold. And if we could beat 3 minutes or get close to 3 minutes, we'd be happy with what's going on with timing now.
Yeah, so 3.5 minutes was an overall goal.
Yeah.
And the team that has worked on this, we're down to 2 minutes, actually a little under 2 minutes. We don't really want to tell us our lowest time, but they strive to beat it every day.
Yeah.
So it's under 2 minutes.
Fantastic.
Awesome.
All right, let's keep going.
Let's go talk about the arm. So you could just hear another beep, the system engaged. There's another curtain here, right? So now that this curtain's been broke, the robot is disengaged. Everybody thinks the robot's the coolest part of the system. Really, it's what the system tells the robot arm to do. It's a Kawasaki arm. It's a Six Sigma arm. Heavily used in the automotive manufacturing space. Very reliable, tested and proven. Parts and components available in the U.S., right? That's a huge benefit. But it's not the arm that makes the system magical, right? We're going to go to some components here. We have 3 components on the end of arm. We have a pneumatic air gripper, which we'll talk about how it grabs the pin of a battery in a second. We have a camera, and we have a laser, right? And the camera is a really important piece here because the camera is visually going to the cradle, okay, and identifying what type of power it is. It's also identifying where the pin is, right? Yeah. So it's smart. It's telling the system what it's going to go do. And then the laser is really the refinement piece, right? That's kind of dialing it in. If you think of an aircraft or a jet fighter, right? They always have the ping where it follows the beep. That's kind of like our laser here, right? So it's that final piece. So that's the end of arm components, Ryan.
So, you were talking a little bit about the arm, right? And how interesting it is, and how this is where everybody really drives. But really, the most important part is over here. So, can we get to the PowerHIVE itself?
Absolutely. Right. So this is our charging cradles. Okay. On the back of each one of these batteries, you have copper brushes. Right. That's what's connecting the power to the truck and the chargers. No connectivity, right? No wires to mess with for your operators. They simply hop on and off the truck. At the front of the system here, you can see the pin. The cool thing about in our system, one, it's a universal battery, but if you talk about lithium, it's dense, it's light. So our battery suitcase is only 300 pounds, right? Which is well below the robot's capacity. So the robot is going to grab pneumatically the end of the knob, place it in the charging area to begin charging. Once it's connected, it's got NFC communication, and it's a very smart battery. It's documenting how your operators are performing in the field, and then once it connects, it's going to download all that information that's available to you as a customer. The other thing that's going to do, which is probably the most important, Ryan, it's going to understand the state of discharge and understand how fast it needs to recharge that particular battery before it's going to be pulled again. In the video you saw, once the power was reloaded, the arm actually came back to the system and scanned the battery. It already knows that that battery is the next in line, and now it's learned the position of that battery. So when the next truck comes in, it already knows after I take the power out, put it in the charging stand, I'm going to go to this battery because that's the next one in line, which is a part of our speed.
Yeah, so we just called this the PowerHIVE, right? And, it's kind of got that Nest feature, that Hive-ish feature, but why did we name it the Hive? Talk a little bit about this.
One, we're creative marketing people, of course. No, but we talked about the word sustainability a lot, and our customers are talking about sustainability. So when we looked at the system and saw this Hive design, we went to a beehive immediately. If you've ever seen a cutaway of a beehive, which I think most of you have, it's kind of an amazing ecosystem, right? The things that they do and how it looks, and all the work that goes into that. Sustainable, regenerative, right?
Yep.
A bee is an amazing insect. But at the end of the day, we just want the honey. Okay, we don't really care how the honey's made. We just want the honey, and that's kind of the system here. All the stuff's going on, but at the end of the day, you as the customer, you just want to be powered, right? So that's kind of how we came up with the Hive.
Yeah, and if you think about where this goes, right? You want intelligent power in your facility. You don't want to have to think about it. You just want it to work, and that's what PowerHIVE delivers for you. It gets better as it ages.
And intelligence, right? If you've talked about lithium in your facility, or maybe you've deployed it, the upfront conversation is how fast, how much energy can I take from the wall and shove it in that battery in a 15 to 30 minute window to make sure that you're charged back up.
Right.
And heaven forsakes, what happens when an operator forgets to plug in? Do you have enough energy? That's driving up peak demand, as Antonio talked about. What we've done with our system is, instead of having to juice the battery in a 15-minute window, we really have between an hour and 3 hours, depending on your facility, to recharge the battery. The other thing that's going to do is protect the battery's health. Even lithium, if you really put a charge to it, it could be detrimental over time, right? Customers are spending a lot of money on technology. They expect it to last longer than standard lead acid. This system is going to secure your asset, your power, and make sure that it does that.
Yeah, and the lifetime, make sure it lasts the lifetime you expect it to.
Correct.
Yeah. Great. Can we go to, you got one thing?
Last piece.
Okay.
Safety redundancy. We have our floor laser here. So again, if anything or anyone's in this cage, the robot arm's not going to operate. Also, on the back of the Hive here, there's cabinet doors, so we can open them up. That's where all the magic happens, all the maintenance to the brushes, charge settings. It's all back there. If those cabinets are open, right, there's a chance that you could have your hand interfacing with the batteries. The robot arm will not engage with that cabinet. However, if there's other cabinets deployed, it can still pick power from that cabinet so your operators can run while we're maintaining your system.
I remember the question I was thinking about over here with the arm. When I'm using the arm, right, this is a Six Sigma grade product.
Yes.
It almost never ever goes down. It's got a very strong planned maintenance program. But what if it does? Every customer asks, what if it does? What do we do?
So we have actually, walking through the system, we have a manual reload option. It's going to be like a walkie stacker where you're going to be able to bring that into the cabinet, reload the power manually from a stacker.
Yeah, so just like safety redundancy, right? We want to have resilient redundancy for all of the pieces of equipment.
But I got to note, you're only going to have to do that for less than 24 hours because we've got a way. to make
Good point.
sure.
Good point. Great.
All right.
Let's keep going.
So let's go look at the cradle, Ryan. All right, so you've heard us talking about the cradle. You've seen us take the power out, right? And now we're going to...
This is the battery?
This is the battery, right? The battery and the pin. And you can see everything that it's going to read on the front of the battery. The good thing about the cradle, my favorite thing about the cradle, there's some technology in there that the engineers are going to hate me for saying it's just a counterweight, because it's not. But it provides flexibility to your operation, okay? If you today make a change to what you're doing, battery box size, change OEM, go sit downs and stand-ups, you have to repurchase power in some instances, right? Because the box sizes aren't the same. That's expensive, right? You're not just paying for counterweight, you're paying for the power. You know, if you deploy this system, you already purchased the power. Right now we're talking about a cradle exchange. We have a second generation cradle that we've already deployed. It's a lot more flexible. It's got ballasts that are kind of compatible and configurable to trucks, so that's very exciting. The other thing to note with the cradle is it has a backup, small backup battery. So one of my first questions was, when you pull the power out of the truck, isn't all the truck going to shut down? They already thought of that. So all your WMS stuff, any other accessories, flashing lights, whatever, they stay powered as you're reloading. And the great thing is, again, no cables, connectors, or requirements of your operators. They have to push the button. Okay?
Yeah.
There is an option, right? As you can see, it's still plugging into the truck because we've gotten questions from customers that we've deployed it in. What if I decide to opportunity charge? What if my operator's on the other side of the building and just wants to get a quick juice to the battery? We can do that as well.
Yeah. Great. Let's head back.
Absolutely.
Okay. So we've given you a tour of the product. You've seen how the PowerHIVE system works. You've seen how all the pieces are things that are being used elsewhere today. And all we've done is configured them around your operation to make it easier for your operators to win every single day. So let's talk a little bit about value, right? We said there's three main things, three places we're going to deliver value: for your people, for our planet, and for your profits and speed. From a people standpoint, hopefully it's pretty clear, right? This takes whatever you're doing today and makes it even safer when it comes to forklifts, AGVs, and power of that nature, right? In addition, for the operators, it eliminates the need to have to think about taking care of their power. They don't have to think about plugging up. They will never come in to the operation, get on a truck again, and it not run. They just come and reload power whenever they need it. So from a people standpoint, it's going to make their operation more enjoyable. It's also going to make your operators safer and more productive. From a planet standpoint, hopefully it's fairly clear here, right? We're going to reduce your carbon footprint. We're going to reduce the energy consumed. In many cases, we're going to help you reduce the peak power usage you have in your facility and allow you to manage that over time in an intelligent way. If you're running on some legacy applications, lead acid, et cetera, we're going to be able to help you get those out of the facility. We can also help you with fumes if you're experiencing that. So lots of things around the environment. And then finally, profit, right? It's really about helping you move faster and be more productive. But the thing that's, I think, pretty crazy, TJ, about this system is if you're thinking...
It's not crazy, it's insane. It's insane.
If you're thinking about other applications and implementing advanced chemistries and going to one battery per truck, or thinking about new infrastructure, right, for some of the options that are available today, this system actually, from a cost structure and a total cost of ownership standpoint, is actually a lower total cost than anything else out in the market today.
It is.
And we can show that to you over time, right? We can show it with existing customers, and then we can also show it for your specific facilities. I think that's kind of incredible that you get all those other benefits, but then you're going to see a lower total cost of ownership than you have today.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So, TJ, I'd love to just bring some life to that,
okay.
Right? Can you just talk about some customers that have implemented this today and what they've experienced?
Yeah, so it's a very important thing to know. The system's deployed. It works.
Yeah.
It's available. I'm going to give you two case studies. Okay. I'm going to call them Customer A and Customer B. Customer A has a sustainability initiative. It's very important to them. They already are a thought leader and an early adopter of new technologies to make sure that their sustainability initiative is met. They've already deployed lithium. They've already deployed hydrogen. But it's not solving all their problems, right? So when we introduced them to the PowerHIVE, they're ready to give it a try. And it hit all the buckets for them. It delivered on the sustainability initiative, but it also operational uptime and delivery to their customers, right? Customer B, different set of problems. Yes, they want to be sustainable, but they're pennies on the package, right? There's a lot of pressure on them to deliver and perform. So they're looking at new ways to deliver. On top of that, they're cold storage, right? And cold storage, especially deep freezers, are battery killers. We're not going to get too technical around the battery today, but it works in a freezer, right? It's heated appropriately. So we wanted to solve their problem. And as we deployed the system, they were extremely happy, but they said we're not ready because we are going to change and modify chassis. We're going to change the way we go to market and do business. We don't know what that looks like. We got to wait 2 years for the new trucks before all this is deployed, so maybe now's not the time. But once we had an in-depth conversation about the changes, and we talked about delivering power to you today, no matter what you do inside your facility, right? If you have power you can run, we started to think about maybe they build it around the system. And so we're going down a path, and it's pretty cool and exciting.
Great. Wonderful. Thanks for sharing. So, all right, hopefully at this point you're intrigued, right? We've challenged your thinking on what are the ways that I can improve my material handling operations. This sounds interesting to you. If you're one of those people, right, the next thing to think about is which of my facilities does this fit for? So a couple things to think about. Your multi-ship facilities that are running lots of forklifts or AGVs or other pieces of equipment, they're a candidate for this, right? If they're running more than one battery per truck, they're even more of a candidate for this, right, in terms of getting to speed and ROI even faster. And then finally, from an application standpoint, TJ hit on it, right? Customers that are cold storage, customers that are manufacturing, customers that are running food and beverage or grocery hard, right? There's many more, but those are some of the places we're seeing this work for customers today. As you're in that platform, hopefully you're either interacting with us already or you have an opportunity. If you don't know any concentric salespeople, you can fill out that button. Push that button, fill out the form, and talk to us today. Or you can reach out to your existing concentric sales rep. They'll be ready to connect you with one of our PowerHIVE reps and our engineering team to get the party started. I want to just highlight one thing on that, TJ. Okay. What's great in my opinion, about PowerHIVE is we haven't changed our process at all, right? While I just told you which customers are probably the candidates, we don't know for sure which customers, which sites of yours are perfect for PowerHIVE. But we have a process that we've been improving over 20 years that's called an operational and power assessment process. And our team, if you agree and they agree, would come in and execute that for you. And then they would put a proposal together that would show you PowerHIVE versus your existing infrastructure and costs, as well as potentially other options, whether they're alternative chemistries or some hybrid system. So you'd have full view to all the options at your disposal to make an intelligent decision about PowerHIVE. Because the reality is everybody has different needs and different priorities, and sometimes they make decisions for things other than cost structure or sustainability or safety.
Yeah, and I've got to mention, because I'm in sales, even if you're not interested in the PowerHIVE, but you have a power problem, reach out, right? Our company name's Concentric, after concentric circles, if you think about going outward like a ripple, right? At the center of that circle is our customer. That's how we think, right? We built the system to deliver to the customers uninterrupted power, and that's our goal. But even if you're not interested in the Hive, reach out to us. We're happy to do a power assessment in your facility, and we don't guide you in any one direction, right? We can present options and help you get what's right for your facility.
Yeah. Hey, look, we're so thankful for your time today. Thanks for coming. We hope that you found this useful and that this gives you something new to think about as you think about transforming your operations. Stay safe today and have a great day.
Thank you all.